Time now 12 minutes past 7, and Scotland's tourism industry could be back up and running next month after pubs and hotels were told to prepare to reopen on July the 15th. But businesses in Auchrannie have said social distancing rules mean ferries to the island will only run at 20%. So they've asked tourists to only visit if they're staying for more than a few nights. Well, Linda Johnson is Managing Director at the Auchrannie Resort. That's Auchrannie's biggest accommodation provider. Linda's on the line with us now. Good morning to you.
Morning.
You have your date. Are you preparing already, or do you have to wait and see what guidelines are given next week?
No, we're already preparing. We've been looking at guidelines from brand standards around the world, and we are preparing, although with the doubt with the ferry capacity, that's a big worry for us. With only 20% ferry capacity, we can't really restart any tourism in Auchrannie. We really need minimum 50% to bring back even overnight visitors to the island. So that's a worry for us, that we could be preparing to open and then not be able to open viably. So that's a huge worry for us at the moment.
And one which I'm assuming you will be approaching the relevant authorities about.
Yes.
Have you had conversations with them about when you might be they might be able to increase the number of passengers?
We have had conversations with both CalMac and other authorities, but recently Fergus Ewing has become aware of the situation, and we're very pleased that he's actively working to try and sort all this out.
We'll hear from Fergus Ewing just after 8 o'clock this morning. I wonder, though, how your business has been bearing up under the brunt of lockdown. We're hearing this morning, of course, that McDonald's hotels are looking at making 1,800 staff redundant. Have you had similar thoughts?
I think you always have to have these thoughts, but Auchrannie, the last thing we want to do is lose our team. We've spent the last 30 years building up an amazing team around us, and that can be very difficult, especially in an island situation. So it could be damaging to our business going forward if we have to get rid of team members, and it would then endanger our restart and sustainability. So like many tourism operators in Scotland, we have had to start the redundancy process because we don't know what's going to happen down the line. We've got even less certainty on Auchrannie as to what's going to happen than mainland operators at the moment. So we have had to start a legal consultation process.
How many do you think you'd have to lose?
We have no idea at this stage, and as I said a second ago, we would hope not to lose any. Our business model is sustainable as we come out of the crisis. We've got a very strong domestic leisure market and strong demand even at the moment. When the business is closed, our pre-bookings are sitting close to normal levels. So we're very confident of a quick return to normal business once we have the capacity on the ferries and the crisis is over. So losing team members for us would be detrimental to that recovery.
Yeah, so what measures have you put in place so far to make sure that you're going to be meeting the relevant social distancing criteria?
Things like we're planning to install screens in restaurants. We're going to reconfigure the resort so that we can move all of our tables further apart to make sure we've got the correct social distancing procedures in place.
Have you got the space for that?
We have, yes. We would have to move soft seating out in order to space out restaurant seating, but we are very fortunate in that regard because we do have space. Many businesses, hospitality businesses, don't have the space, and although we have the space, our capacities would still be impacted. And obviously, if we have limited ferry capacity, there would not be as many day trippers coming, and that would also impact our numbers that we would be able to cater for. So
it sounds like what you're saying, that this 2 metre rule is your major problem for reopening.
Absolutely, yes. In terms of ferry capacity and in terms of maximising our volumes throughout the season, there's definitely huge impacts, and that's across the hospitality industry in Scotland. And for that very reason, the hospitality sector desperately needs furlough to continue further than October. Especially in seasonal businesses. where, it looks like most of the industry in Scotland will get some kind of August, but then it starts to go into a decline into winter, when it will be difficult to retain full teams, especially with reduced volumes.
I suppose, on the other hand, if the government was to suddenly change its mind and reduce that 2 metre distancing rule, would you then have to put in place more cleaning, more PPE, or are all those things already in your area of preparation?
Yeah, all of those things are already being prepared for. So yes, definitely wouldn't be a problem if they reduced it. That would only help the situation.
And out with Auchrannie, how will Arran survive, the economy of Arran survive, without the day trippers who contribute so much to the local economy?
Obviously, any loss of visitors is a problem for any destination. But I think in Arran we may be faced, obviously we'd be delighted if we could have day trippers back, but if we don't have the ferry capacity, we have no option but to try and prioritise who should come in the ferry. And first and foremost, we need to maintain our local infrastructure, and we need to allow the community to travel. They have had no ability to travel since March on the ferry, apart from emergency situations. And also, it's only right that friends and family of islanders should be able to travel. And in terms of visitors, overnight visitors will bring the most economic benefit, and therefore it makes sense that if we have to make compromises with the ferry capacity, then we should try to limit that to overnight visitors over day visitors.
Linda, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. Good to talk to you, and good luck when you eventually get reopened. Linda Johnson there, the Managing Director of the Auchrannie Resort on Arran.